Okay, so today we're gonna do factoring completely, where you put a bunch of factoring stuff together. So it's nothing new, but it's like putting things together, like adding some stuff. Okay, so we know 3 ways to factor. The first way we learned was GCF. What does GCF stand for? Good, greatest common factor. Then the second thing we learned were trinomials. How many parts do trinomials have? 3. That's the one where you have to look at your signs to see if they're going to be the same or different, and you have to figure out what multiplies together, okay? And then what we learned yesterday was called difference of squares. How many parts does that one always have? 2. And it also, what does the difference mean it has to have to start with? Anybody remember? A subtraction sign. So it always has to have a subtraction to be difference of squares. Okay? So to be GCF, it has to have something in common. To be trinomial, it has to have 3 parts. And to be difference of squares, it has to have 2 parts and a subtraction. So these are the 3 different problems. Okay? All right. So, let's look at each one of these. So the first one is 16x squared minus 49. So this one has how many parts? 2. So can it be a trinomial? No, it either has to be GCF or difference of squares. So does 16 and 49 have anything in common? No, nothing goes into 16 that goes into 49. So it's not greatest common factor. So the only thing left for it to be, is difference of squares if it has 2 parts. So does it have a minus? Are 16 and 49 on that list of numbers we made yesterday? Yep, they are. Okay. So remember, for difference of squares, you do 2 sets of parentheses and you split it up. You split it up. Andrea had a 16 split. What times what? Good. And I'm going to put an X with it. So I'm splitting up the 16. Sorry, what are my signs? The same or different? Good. Different. So a plus and a minus. And Jesse had us 49 split. Good. Okay. Any questions on number 1? All right, number 2. Daniel, how many parts does it have? It has 2. Can this one be difference of squares? No, difference has to have a minus. Does this have a minus? No, so it's not difference of squares. It has 2 parts, so it can't be trinomial. So the only thing left is what? Good, greatest common factor, okay? All right, Chuck, what's one number you know goes into 36 and 48? What? Good, 6. Can anybody think of a bigger number than 6? 12, okay? So 12 goes into both of these. Gracie, how many x's do I write on the bottom? So x to the second or x to the fifth, you pick the smallest one. X to the second, okay? Haley, what am I going to do after that step? Divide. Very good. Anybody, 36 divided by 12? 3. What happens to x squared and x squared? Okay. 48 divided by 12? 4. And what do I do with the little numbers? Okay. Dylan, do you remember what I have to do last on this problem? Very good. 12x squared goes out front. Good, Dylan. Thank you. All right, number 3, Chad, how many parts does it have? So what's that called? So this one is a tri. Ethan G, what do I do first with a trinomial? Do you remember? No? Good. Parentheses. Andrea, which sign do I look at first, the plus or the minus on this one? The minus. What does the minus mean they're going to be? The same or different? Different. Okay, so that's what you do on a trinomial. You have to look at your signs. Haley, which number do you kick out to the side? The 8 or the 20 goes out here? The 20. Okay, kick out the 20 to the side. And Ethan G., what are two things that multiply to give you 20? Daniel, will 5 and 4 give us what we want? No. What do we want them to give us? So what? Good. Okay. All right, I forgot to put my X's in here, so let me go ahead and do that. And guys, here's the mistake I keep seeing y'all do, so be careful with this. Does it matter where the 10 and 2 go? Yes. The 10 is bigger, so the 10 has to go with whatever this looks like. What does this look like? A plus, so the 10 has to go with the plus, and then the 2 goes in the other one, okay? All right, any questions? All right. Now we're going to put some things together, two of the methods together in one problem. Always, always, always try to GCF first. What does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor. So always look for what they have in common first. That's what you're going to do first, okay? So, what do you always try to do first? Good. Write it down on your paper. There's a spot for it. You're always going to look for what they have in common first, okay? Always going to look for what they have in common first. Okay, so here's my first problem. 2x squared minus 8. Gracie, what do 2 and 8 have in common? What will go into both of them? 2. Good. So I'm going to draw my line and put 2 underneath. Zaria, what does this line mean to do? Divide. So I divide 1. Guys, what do you think I do with x squared? Anybody? Good. Drop it down. What's negative 8 divided by 2? Anybody? Negative 4. Okay. I put this in parentheses, and what goes out front? 2. Now, we're doing an extra step today. We're doing an extra step. Now what's in parentheses is either going to be a difference of squares or a trinomial today. So you're doing GCF first. Then what's in parentheses is going to be difference of squares or a trinomial. You have to do it one more time. How many parts does this have? 2. In parentheses are just 2. Is that difference of squares or tri? Difference of squares. So what you have to do next is do 2 parentheses, and we're going to split this up. We're going to split it up. Jesse, how does x squared minus 4 split? Are the signs going to be the same or different? And how do you split 4? So plus 2 and minus 2. And guys, this 2 out front just drops down. So that's the answer. That's the answer. Okay? So we're doing 2 steps in one problem today. 2 steps in one problem. Okay? All right, number 2. Daniel, what do I want you to do first? Very good. See what they have in common. Chad, what goes into 4 and 4? 4. Chad, how many x's do I put on the bottom? 2. Okay. Chuck, what do I do after this step? Divide. So what do you get when you divide right here, Chuck? X to the what? And minus what? 1, and those cancel. All right, put it in parentheses. Don't forget to put your 4x squared out front. All right, Dylan, now we have to do something with what's in parentheses. Is that difference of squares or a trinomial? All right. Yep, it's got just 2 parts, okay? Dylan, how does that split? Okay. Good. Very good. And drop down your 4x squared. Your 4x squared gets dropped down. Okay. All right, number 3, 12a to the third minus 27a. Dylan, what do I want you to do first? Good. Dylan, what goes into 12 and 27? No, it goes into both of them. Dylan, what else do I want you to write underneath? Good. A3 or A1? A1. Ethan G, what do you do next? All right, what do you get when you divide, Ethan G? Uh-huh. A to the second minus... Uh-huh, 9. And your A's cancel. Put it in parentheses. What goes out front, Ethan? 3A. Okay. All right, Haley, I have to do another step. I have to look at what's in parentheses. What's in parentheses? Difference of squares or trinomial? Good. Haley, how does it split? Okay, 2A and 2A. Uh-huh. Good. And what has to drop down in front? Good. All right. Anybody have a question? Okay. Gracie, number 4. What do I need to do first? Uh-huh. What goes into 9 and 81, Gracie? Very good, Gracie. 9 goes into both of them. Zaria, what do I do after I put a 9 underneath? Very good. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Drop down your y squared. Negative 81 divided by 9 is negative 9. Daniel, what do I need to do after that? Uh-huh. Good. Chuck, what do I need to do after that? What? Look at what's in parentheses. Is that difference of squares or trinomial? So it splits. How does it split, Chuck? And 1y. Uh-huh. Good. What goes out front? 9. Good job. Okay. All right, number 5, Andrea, what do I want you to do first? Andrea, what do they both have? They don't have any numbers, but they're both are what? They're both A's. Do I want A3 or A1? Which one do I write underneath? A3 or A1? Uh-huh, the smallest little number. Okay. Jesse, what do I do after that? Okay, what do you get? What do you have to do with the little numbers? So I get A to the second. Guys, these cancel, but remember there are big ones here. What's 1 divided by 1? So you need to put minus 1. Be careful on that. All right, Jesse, keep going from there. What do I do? Okay. What else, Jesse? What else do I have to do on this one? Uh-huh. Good. And you put A to the first out front. Okay. Okay, any questions? Okay. All right, number 6, 2x squared minus 2x minus 40. Chad, what do I want you to do first? Good. What goes into 2, 2, and 40? Good. So I put a 2 under all of them, guys. Do they all have an x? No. Which one doesn't have an x? 40. So you don't put an x because they don't have it in common. They have to all have it in common. So don't put an x, okay? Chad, what do you get when you divide these by 2? 1x squared minus 1x. Good. Put it in parentheses. What goes out front, Chad? 2. All right, guys, everybody look right here. How many parts does this have? 1, 2, 3. Is that difference of squares or a trinomial? So trinomial. So we're still going to do our 2 parentheses. But remember, you have to double check the signs. So I'll look here. So are they going to be the same or different? Different. Okay, so they're still going to be different. Then I'm going to kick out the 20 so I can talk about it. Kick out the 20. Dylan, two things that multiply to give me 20. Good. And Dylan, what do I want 5 and 4 to subtract and give me? Do they? Yes. Okay. And last question, Dylan. Which one goes where? Very good. 5 is bigger, so it goes with a minus. Good job, Dylan. So that is your answer. 2x plus 4x minus 5. Don't forget to drop down this 2. Okay. All right. Good work, guys. You're doing great. Number 7, Jesse, what do I need to do first? What do they have in common, Jesse? 1. What else? Very good. A to the first. All right, Jesse, what do you get when you divide? What do you have to do with the little numbers? Okay, so what do you get, Jesse? Okay. Uh-huh. Just 21. Okay. All right. Andrew, what else do I need to do up here? What do I need to do with this? What do I have to put around it? What goes out front? 1A. Okay. Ethan G, tell me about what's in parentheses. It's a trinomial. So what do I have to kick out? Ethan G, what multiplies give me 21? Seven times 3. Okay. So I do my 2 sets of parentheses. Ethan G, I got to pay attention to my signs. What does it mean when there's a plus right there? They're going to be the same, and they're both going to be minus. So A minus, guys, you can put an X if you want. A minus, A minus. Ethan G, do 7 and 3 give us the 10 that we want? Yep. So 7 and 3. And what do I put out front, guys? Good. A to the first. Okay. All right, number 8, Daniel, you're up. All right, what is it? Okay, what else? Yep, X. Just X. Okay. All right, Daniel, what do you get when you divide that? Up. Okay. Yep. Plus 4. Okay. All right, Daniel, keep going. Okay. On a trinomial, you have to look at the signs. So which sign do you look at first? Okay, what does this mean? They're both going to be, okay, an X. And then you have to kick out the, okay. Good. 2 and 2 adds to give me 4 as well. So 2 and 2. What else do I need in my answer, Daniel? Very good. The 2x needs to come down. Okay. All right. Okay. So on number 9, y'all divided by 2. That's what they had in common. Do they all have an x? No. So you don't put an x. So you get x squared plus 4x plus 3. This is a trinomial, so I do both my parentheses, x and x. It ends in a plus, so my signs are going to be the same. They're both going to be pluses. And I kick out the 3. And what's the only way to multiply to get 3? 3 times 1. And that adds to give me 4. So 3 and 1, and drop down your 2. Drop down your 2. Okay. All right. Number 10 is multiple choice because it's a crazy looking problem, okay? But let's go through it together. Guys, you got 5, 65, and 200. I know those are big numbers, but what goes into all three of them? 5, okay? Remember, look at this one, and 5 is going to go into any number that ends in a 5 or a 0, okay? So 5 goes into all of them. What else do I divide them all by? X squared, okay? So guys, look at this multiple choice question. What answer choice can I go ahead and mark out? What answer choice can I go ahead and mark out? A. I can mark out A. Why? It doesn't have x squared, which we know has to be out front. So we can mark out A. Okay? When I divide here, I get 1x to the second minus 13x plus, let's do some long division here. How many times does 5 go into 20? 4. So you get 40. Okay. Yep. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. Okay. All right. How many parts does this have? 3. So you got to do your trinomial. It ends in a plus. What does that mean? They're both going to be negatives. And what are some things I multiply to give me 40? 20 and 2. Does that give me 13? No. What else gives me 40? 5 and 8. Does 5 and 8 add to give me 13? Yep. So, Gracie, what answer choice is correct? What? D. Good. Okay. Why is B wrong? It has a 12 instead of a 13. Why is C wrong? Because 4 and 10, does that add to 13? What does 4 and 10 add to? 14. Okay. All right. All right. Last 4 right here. Number 11. Haley, what do you do first on 11? By what? Yep. And Haley, what else goes into all of them? No, not another number. What else do they have in common other than a number? X. They all have an X on this one. Okay. All right, guys. 3 divided by 3. We know that. That's 1. Subtract your little numbers. What's 21 divided by 3? Anybody? 7. X. All right, guys, right here, you're going to have to learn how to do long division because the first half of the test is no calculator, okay? How many times does 3 go into 5? Once. 3 times 1 is 3. And then I subtract these. What's 5 minus 3? 2. Drop down the 4. How many times does 3 go into 24? 8. So I get minus 18, okay? All right, Chad, what do I need to do next? Okay. Then what? So he's saying you got to kick out the 18 because it's a trinomial. So I'm going to put an X and an X. Chuck, what are my signs going to be on this one? Yes, you do. Different. Why are they different? Because the last one's a minus. That makes them different. Okay. Gracie, what are 2 things that multiply to give me 18? And 3. What else goes into 18? Another number. It's even, so what else will go into it? 2. 2 and 9. All right. Dylan, is that what you're going to say? All right. Dylan, which one do we want? 6 and 3 or 2 and 9? Which one do we want? Why? Mm-mm. Good. Okay. 9 minus 2 is 7. All right. Gracie, does the 9 go with the plus or the minus? The minus. It goes with the front one. The bigger one goes with the front. All right. And drop down the 3x. Okay. All right. Let's